In this video I'm going to use this illustration, which will be part of a children's story, and I want to introduce a character, a young guy. So he's having trouble going down these very wonky steps, and there's somebody down there who's a bit impatient, so it's adding to his anxieties, as it were. But because of perspective, he'll be fairly large, and we'll just start his head about here, and his back leg will be about here. So with the figure, about 6 heads would be sufficient for this character. So if I can imagine, where's the halfway point? It's about there. That's about where the crotch is. Of course, he's not standing straight up and down. He's having trouble negotiating these steps. So that's the crotch, and we can divide that into more or less thirds, about there. Probably a little bit more because he's having trouble, so it won't be exactly 6 heads, but I see it that the head would be probably about here. So I'll just rough in the head. I don't want any detail in this picture just yet. This is purely, I want to get the pose right. So we'll just draw in a block for his head, and we'll use that head as a unit of measure. Now, he'll be trying to get down. He's only a young kid, so he'll be about here, and this is the weight-bearing leg. It'll come. Oh, sorry. Well, there's something I can point out to you. With weight-bearing leg, you do a vertical line around the middle of his neck. In a standing pose, it'll go to the top of the breastbone, the manubrium. So that firmly plants that foot there. And so because he's sort of wobbling, trying to get down these steps, it'll be quite exaggerated. Okay, so if this is his crotch, top of his pants will be about here, and with the weight-bearing leg, the hip is raised above the other hip. Now, normally in what's called contrapposto pose, you have hip raised on one way, the shoulders compensate by going the other way, but not in this case. He's only barely balancing, and we want to have that feeling of him, not being able to balance properly. So I'll rub some of this out now, the rock forms. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Okay, we've got a kind of a line of action, if you like, but I'm not trying to refine this just yet. I just want to basically get this feeling of not quite balancing. He's having trouble. He's whinging, as we would say. He's whinging about it's too steep and it's too hard to get down. Might bring this even further. Okay, so about halfway there, and we can put that foot almost behind. So that foot would go at about that angle, maybe further out there. Okay, you get the idea now. So he's standing. We'll go down his spine and find his buttocks area, and right, that'll be like so. I'd like to get this out a bit further, actually. Yeah, I think that improves it. There's no reference for this kind of pose. If you're an illustrator, you would know, and if you want to be an illustrator, I have to tell you that you sometimes reference doesn't. You just can't find it. It's not like the olden days with Norman Rockwell type illustrators where they could just hire models and photography, was a great help to them. But we have to, how do we sort of overcome this problem of not being able to find reference? Well, the knowledge of anatomy is the key. So if you know that, for example, basically that a boy of this age would be about 6 heads, I'll have a look later and just check. We might increase the size of his head somewhat to make him young. Okay, so his crotch is about here, and his pants are about here, and this leg is coming out. I'd even further exaggerate it, but I think that'll be sufficient. Okay, and once again we'll check the vertical line. When drawing the figure or any kind of like an animal or anything, try using a vertical line is very, very helpful. It gives you the balance that you want. Yeah, that's going to work. Of course, we can't see that foot, but we know it's there. Okay, and all the stress and tension is on that leg. Now, because we can't get reference material for this, often we have to use our anatomy knowledge and our practice of over the years of drawing. I'll just draw a bit of detail on that shoe. Right, okay, so the key thing to this tricky balance is how he might use his arms. So looking at the picture, I want to make sure that we don't lead our eye out of the picture. So I think it might be an idea, just draw it in stick form. Just see how this goes. We could have his arm like so, and his other arm. Yeah, well that increases the sort of, establishes the idea of his, having a lot of trouble balancing. He's almost going to fall over. So that can go there, and yeah, that's great. I don't want to intrude into those little boats down there, and I want to make sure that we're leading down that path down to his big brother, I have to tell you. I can't tell you too much, but we want to use that arm to point down to him. He's not pointing at him. He's desperately trying to balance, although, as you could imagine, he's complaining bitterly. Right, that looks, I'm happy with that design, so I might just fill it out a little bit. I just want to get some space in there. Okay, we can still see that step there. Right, all these things are leading us into the connection, the sort of emotional connection, if you like, the psychological connection between the two characters and his little dog, of course. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, so now with your, you can use photo reference for things like how, if someone was stretching like so, what would the drapery do? So it could go that way to emphasize that. Don't make that too long, to emphasize that. I might even bring that down a bit further. Okay, and we want to use the drapery there to stretch up somehow. and drapery would go like so. We can have a bit of a cross design here. Okay, and because he's stretching down, his pants will be, his shirt will be tucked into his pants, but almost coming out, if you like. Okay, so that looks right. Okay, I think we can go with this. So I hope to be able to make lots of videos like this. So please enjoy.